Nigeria needs to do something very quickly and drastically on our present security situation, which is questioning our corporate existence. The great number one job of any government in any society is to provide security of life and property. If you cannot do that, then the government does not exist.
This is P2B speaking about the insecurity in Nigeria. As somebody who is a candidate for this presidential seat, he's coming out for presidential election in 2027. He's so concerned about the insecurity happening in Nigeria. He's even urging parents to understand what it means to secure the future of their children based on the insecurity that is currently taking over the country. Nobody wants their child to be lost in the bush, on the road. For example, you can actually send your child on a mission, maybe on a message or errand, and before you could, any reports could be coming back to you, you will realize that your child has been adopted, maybe on the way to school, or even inside the school premises. Look at what is happening currently around the northern area, Kaduna, Kano, Kogi, all those areas around Jos. People are being adopted on daily basis. Who wouldn't even want peace in a country like this? P2B spoke at length. He even attended occasions. He attended the NDC party occasion, where he also spoke about how a country should stand out for their people. Being a leader is not just about looking out for your own self or only your family, but understanding what your subjects are in lack of and looking into it as a leader who knows what your subjects are in need of. P2B is that one particular leader who understands his people. He speaks the minds of his people. P2B is a man who understands what generations, what people, what the desires of the young ones and the future of young youths is, and how he is planning to secure the future of young generations is what everybody is happy about. Look at how the eastern part of Nigeria has even come almost everybody, in as much as we have 4 candidates who are coming out for presidential seats for 2027 election, in as much as people who are interested in that seat are still coming out. But why does it look to you that P2B is taking over the heart of people? Nigerians who love P2B still want him into that seat. Remember in 2023, where P2B lost election in Nigeria, he lost in that election. Many Nigerians were hoping that P2B is going to take over that seat, and before you know what's happening, another person took over the seat, which is Mr. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which is the current president in Nigeria. And ever since, people started complaining how fuel went up. Immediately he emerged the seat, it looks like things took a new turn. So I don't know, I'm not the one saying it, but that is what people are saying. Now, Goodluck Jonathan is also coming out for presidential election in 2027. Guys, it looks like people are believing that APC wants to use Goodluck Jonathan to run their errands to achieve their aims. Like, Goodluck Jonathan was a former president of Nigeria, right? But at some point, there were a lot of threats to come down from the seat, and lives of people were being, pied. People were being pied. People were taken out to bush. People whose families were lost. As that time, he was in his own regime. People's, children, all those Chibok girls were adopted, and all those things that were happening was most of the reasons why Goodluck Jonathan had to leave the seat, and he stepped down as a president. And after that, I think Tinubu took over. No, Buhari took over the seat. But as at that time, fuel wasn't very costly as it is, right? And then, as a new president emerged in 2023, fuel prices went up, hunger escalated, people's security became a problem, and that is what P2B is trying to tackle as a Nigerian who knows what his people is passing through and who wants to change what the people is passing through. There are other people who are interested in this presidential matter, presidential election, and even taking over the seat for presidential election in 2027. Votes are being casted, and primary election that was even conducted, there were votes. Not only P2B and Goodluck Jonathan. Somebody is also coming out. I saw a post online. That guy is Sowore. He was talking about how he would change education system, how he'll be able to pay people who are going to work, both education, taking it up, and making sure that Nigeria becomes good again. Atiku Abubakar is another veteran politician and a former vice president who has again, in fact, he has even gained a public presence. People are interested. He has fans as well. Many people still want him to become a president. Atiku Abubakar even, has again emerged as a major opposition contender for the 2027 that is coming up. P2B, who is a former Labour Party candidate, has announced another presidential run and even remains one of the leading opposition figures heading into 2027. I'm mentioning names of people who are interested in this presidential seat, and then we'll talk about Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. He's also coming out for presidential election. The influential northern politician, that is who he is, and former presidential candidate. He remains a significant figure whose support base play a major role in election outcome. And we have Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is also the current president and is desiring to still rule Nigeria again. The president is even expected to seek a second term under the ruling APC. So this has already secured his party's nomination, guys, according to recent reports. And as it stands, people really love P2B. P2B is almost taking over in the eyes of people, allegedly. P2B is the former Labour Party candidate that has decided, to try again, another person that has aim to take over the presidential seat, which he contested for that's 2023, but it didn't really work out. Anyways, I'm just going to keep you guys updated. For more information around the world, for more news, just subscribe to my YouTube channel and stay tuned. Don't forget.